check this out. It's an absolutely beautiful Bultaco 350 trials bike, ridden by Bill Blythe, who was actually sponsored by Bultaco back in the 70s.
But Spanish bikes are a lot alike.
So actually he was a factory Osa rider, but like you said, the Spanish bikes are a lot alike. And this one here is absolutely freaking beautiful. Bill's 65 years old, so I don't know what you're doing, but he's still riding every single day. So hopefully some of you guys that are watching this will be inspired. If you're a younger guy, hell, this is a sport, trials riding, that you can compete on well into your years and stay sharp physically and mentally, and it's a lot of fun. This bike is absolutely freaking gorgeous. The color of it, this is straight out of the Trail Bike Museum in North Adams, Massachusetts. James Hollerick did a frame-up restoration of this bike. It's stunning, from the original factory paint code down to the polished aluminum fenders, the polished wheels, the Sherpa T graphics. The original saddle is beautiful. The aluminum rear fender. It even has the original dual-tip exhaust on it, which is remarkable. Billy, what do you think?
This bike is like brand new. It's amazing. It really is a beautiful piece. This it feels like a brand new motorcycle. I don't think this thing ever had much time on it before it was restored, and it's been beautifully restored, properly done. A little over the top in a couple places, a couple additions like this to help you out of the mud hole.
That's a must have if you ever get stuck.
Right, if you ever get stuck. This bike, the 350 Power, this is a really incredible piece.
Beautifully polished aluminum rim with the Michelin tire, and is this bike it looks all original to me.
Yeah, mostly original. There's a couple things, you know, it's missing its chain guard here, and it's got a Mikuni carburetor on it, which is a proper period upgrade.
Much better than the stock carburetor.
Yeah, it's more tunable, and really the bikes love the Mikunis, these Spanish bikes. So, but the Bultaco is second to none really in the world as far as their classic trials bikes.
I see the rear tire is a radial, actually, Michelin trial competition radial.
Right on. They're both trial radials, and these are modern tires on a classic bike. And if we had these tires back in the day, I could have been a national champion, or maybe close to it.
It would almost be like cheating compared to the old tires, right?
Honestly, yeah. These are radial ply instead of bias ply like we suffered with, but you know, the technology keeps on plugging.
You know, the closer you look, the more you feel like you're looking at a time capsule, that something that was put away for 50 years, and essentially that's what happened. Once this was restored in Jim's Trail Bike Museum, he never rode these bikes. They sat there, and he passed away, sadly, recently. He was a benefactor of our museum, benefactors of the New England Motorcycle Museum. When we first opened, he had a truckload of 20 bikes to get us started. And his daughter, Heidi, is our neighbor. She actually lives in the woods right back there. Through those woods over there is her apartment complex. You can actually hear us riding. And when we first opened, she came over, introduced herself, and then hooked us up with her dad, who became a benefactor in support of our museum. I've been up to the Trail Bike Museum a number of times. Absolutely remarkable. Sad that it's an end of an era, that he's passed away, but he will live on through the legacy of his motorcycles, and this one is absolutely stunning.
Sure is. Jim had his hands on this bike to do some work on it, but a friend of mine restored it. And before Jim got this bike, I was able to ride it. So this is really a throwback for me personally. I rode this bike 20 years ago, before Jim had it in his museum on display for all those years. And then when we got the bike back, when we bought it at auction, the gentleman who restored it, his name is Steve D. He restored the bike, donated it to the Trail Bike Museum, and was there with me at the auction when I purchased it for Kaplan Cycles.
What are the odds that 2 decades later, everything, all the planets aligning, where you were, now you rode this bike after it was restored 20-something years ago,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, the very same bike.
With the restoration expert who originally did it, right?
Exactly, yeah. The guy that did it.
What do we have here? What's this, Billy?
Wow, another crazy cool bike.
Wow.
This thing's got so much appeal. Look at the engine cases. Look what Jim did, he polished the external
I mean,
case.
this wasn't planned. Junior just happened to be cruising up on this thing
Look at
at
the rear
this time.
suspension on this.
The Bulger.
rear end.
Billy gave a full dissertation yesterday about the Bulger suspension.
I
and
wasn't around. I got to check that video out.
that video is going live today.
breakdown.
Guys, if you want to know the history of Osa, this is the guy to talk to. He was an Osa factory rider. He was in all of their brochures and magazine articles. He was the main guy for Osa in their distant cousin, or not so distant cousin, Bultaco, right?
Right, yeah, all from Barcelona. This is where trials bikes were really created, like world-class trials bikes in Barcelona, Spain. That's the world center for trials bikes. Even today's gases were made in the same area, and they're a derivative. The gas motorcycle line, the trials line, was derived from Bultaco and Osa, and all the things were learned back in those days.
How old were you when you were a factory Osa rider? It's not
Osa picked me up when I was 16.
16 years old. You're still a minor.
Yeah,
You got to be
exactly.
damn good to get a factory sponsorship at 16.
Yeah, I was on.
Hey, wait a minute. How old are you now?
65.
So next year it'll be 50 years ago.
Yeah,
50-year
right.
anniversary of being a
Right.
factory rider. That's pretty cool, man.
It's pretty neat
How many
stuff.
guys can say that? And you're still doing it, man. You're still. Billy is never given up his love for motorcycles. I don't think I've ever been to Daytona and not seen him there.
Yeah.
In fact, you won the RZ Cup there because you moved on from your factory position as a test rider racer to be a professional road racer, and then did the Isle of Man. But still to this day, every day, if it ain't, even when it's raining out, Billy rides. Where is it? Can I get it? There it is. That green Kawasaki ZX11. He rides it to work every day. So this is a sport that you can at 60, you can have 50 years of pleasure. And I'm sure your whole life has kind of revolved around motorcycles, hasn't it?
Actually, trials is the thing that it formed my life. It really did. It gave me responsibility. I learned how to be a project manager, because to compete, you need to really think ahead. You need to plan for things. You have to have the bike ready, yourself ready. And back in these days, it wasn't like the disc brake, water-cooled days. Air-cooled engines needed service. The brakes needed to come apart every time you rode the bike, basically, to clean them out and make sure they work properly. There's a lot of maintenance that needed to be done. And as a young man, I was 14 when I started riding trials. I had to learn how to do all those things myself. There was no one to teach me. So, it was a great project for me. It kept me off the streets. It kept me, gave me responsibility, which I needed desperately.
How did the 350? This was the top of the line model. Is this a 310 like the Osa, or is this a larger CC?
No, I believe this is a 326.
So it's a little bigger bore than the Osa counterpart.
Yes.
They had to one-up them, right?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they're in competition, so it's always about one-upping, right?
Actually, Senior Bulto loved his Sherpa T, and Senior Bulto is the man that started Bultaco. He started at Montesa, then he opened his own company called Bultaco, and it's Bultaco. Paco is his name, and Bulto is his last name.
So it was a
Yes,
combination of his first and last name reversed?
reversed.
And it's such a cool name. It worked perfectly, you know?
Right, indeed. He was quite a gentleman. He came to America. In fact, he worked with Joe Bulger, the guy that designed and built that Osa that we just
The one
saw.
that Junior just rode away, yeah?
Yes, yeah. He worked with Joe Bulger, and he was friends with Bob Hogan, our local Bultaco expert in Agawam, Massachusetts. So he was a guy that was willing to hear the voice of the Americans, which a lot of arrogant people in Europe might not want to do,
So as far as fit and finish on this bike, to me it looks like a brand new motorcycle. I always like to look at the undercarriage on them because these are off-road racing bikes. Usually this frame rail right here, if it was ridden by a pro, will be all caved in. This one is in remarkably good condition. You just don't see race bikes with especially these, which are designed to glide over the rocks this clean.
Right,
all the way
exactly.
through.
All those little cycle parts that would get knocked off, like the Speedo, that's kind of kept in an area that's sort of in harm's way, really, and it's never seen a hit. I just love Bultaco's attention to detail, like the little the thumbs up on the Kickstarter. I mean, they didn't have to do that. They were just proud of their mark. They're very proud. The thumbs up, meaning all's well, and all systems go.
Our friends from 911 Coffee Company kind of they copied that logo to some degree. I don't know if it's copyrighted, but somehow, anyways, 911 Coffee Company that's their logo right there, the thumbs up.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And it looks exactly like a Bultaco, but I guess Bultaco probably doesn't. They're out of business and have been, right?
Yeah, they've been
Right.
out of business for a while. They actually came back after being out of business for a number of years. The Bulto family allowed the new manufacturer to use the Bultaco name for one season. So the Bultaco came back around the year 99 or 2000, somewhere in that area, but then became Sherco.
Just a beautiful piece, guys. This thing's ready to roll to the line at a AHRMA vintage trials, like they have them at the Barber Vintage Fest. They have them at Mid-Ohio. You could have so much fun on this thing. Being a 350, you could actually, this is going to be a little bit more flexible in what you can do with it. It's got enough gearing on it where if you wanted to make it street legal and make like Honda had the TL250, the street legal trials bike,
Sure.
You could do something like that with it. You could ride enduros on it. You could play ride with it. It's a great training tool for staying in shape, as you've proven last year, where you were riding every day, and you were working on your fitness through riding, which is way more fun than going to a gym.
Yeah, for me, it's a distraction. You know, you have to think about other things besides just how bad it feels or how much it hurts to work out. You know, you're getting a workout, but I'm distracted myself personally by that. But this is a bike you could ride in your yard and not offend the neighbors. It's quiet. The sound doesn't carry. You're not wide open all the time. You're plunking around. So I'm able to ride I have a 76 250 exactly like this that I ride, and I actually won some nationals on it in Arma. And it's a wonderful motorcycle. The handling of it is second to none. And like I said, you could ride it around your yard today and really probably not bother the neighbors.
We were talking the other day, so we got to film a video about the sheer joy and how good it is for your mental happiness. Your physical, mental, and spiritual condition is much better after riding a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Every time, pretty much unanimously, unless you crash and hurt yourself, and then you got to start over. But we were talking about, like, I had a really rough couple of weeks, and I was in a really shitty mood, and I went out and went 120 miles an hour on my Harley and burned around town, and I felt like I was like happy again.
Yeah.
You know, I have a stereo on it, so I cranked up the tunes, music, motorcycles, and some coffee, and I was just happy again. You know,
Motorcycle therapy. Right?
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what I call it.
Yeah,
you know.
I think we're blessed to have this passion for motorcycles. Where, you know, I'm 57, you're 65. We know exactly where we're going to be next March. We're going to be at Daytona for Bike Week. And you ride every day, I ride every day. It's what keeps us young, and it keeps us inspired, and keeps you from doing stupid shit like eating too much and getting too fat, or
Right.
drinking or doing drugs or any of that shit. This is what we love to do. And the other stuff all has to be, if you do it, has to be in moderation. Otherwise, you can't do this. You can't
Right.
you can't be drunk and trials ride safely, anyways. And you can't be super overweight, because it's very physically demanding. If you are overweight, I can't think of a better way to trim pounds or get in shape. Or if you're depressed, get on a bike.
Exactly
Get on a
right.
bike and ride.
I did notice that I was very stiff when I started riding again, practicing here on the hillside. And as I stretched, I was able to, get my lower back stretched out, and it's because the bike draws you into it gently. It's a definite therapy. There you go.
What? Is that Bob Hanna's bike? Hot damn.
You never know.
We
what's
don't plan
gonna
this
be
shit.
going by
This is what happens here every day.
I know, it's
But
amazing.
anyways,
Yeah, and a little bit more about this bike in particular. It's a no excuses motorcycle that you could take and compete on today, literally. And you wouldn't need to do a darn thing to it. It's got new tires on it, fresh oil in it, fresh non-ethanol fuel. It's been fully serviced and looked after. The brakes are clean.
can we roll it around so we can see this side in the
Yeah,
sun?
sure, yeah.
Because this side is equally beautiful, and I don't want to be amiss and not show them how nice this side of the bike is.
Right on.
It's just beautiful. Let's hold her up straight. There we go. Yeah, look at this. Look at the profile on this thing. This is going right into the Spanish section of the museum with the other Bultacos and Osas we have on display here.
Yeah, talking about the profile of the bike, if you look at how slim-line the bike is,
Man,
it's very narrow.
there's nothing to it.
There's nothing to it, right? It's a 200-pound 350 motorcycle, aluminum alloy fenders.
Real metal.
Period. Yeah, that's period correct. Those, every time you fall off, if you're in the big boulders, which this bike will never see that kind of work again, but back in the day, you could bend the fenders, but you could straighten them out, and they'd look good as new.
I can't think of a better color combo
Right.
than the red and silver with the black pinstriping. It's just freaking beautiful.
Yeah, I kind of like red.
Really nice. It matches your whole outfit.
That's right.
That's
What
a
a
modern.
coincidence.
That's a modern gas helmet. But the rest of your gear, he's got the period correct Bultaco and the pants and boots, Garnet boots. So you definitely looking the part, like you're ready to go win an Arma National.
Right on.
I know you could give the. There's no doubt in my mind that if you competed in the vet class, that you'd probably guaranteed top 10, maybe podium on this against new bikes, because it's really mostly rider in my opinion.
Actually, when I came back to trials, after all those years, I was trying to find out where I fit in with my 76 250 Bultaco, which is the little brother of this. And I rode all the different modern classes until I got to the intermediate and advanced classes and realized that, you know, the obstacles were too big for the bike and I was going to get hurt, but it did very well. There was no excuses.
At 65 years old this year.
Yeah.
We're not talking about history. He's still making history at 65. You know, I predict at 75 he'll be doing the same damn thing.
I like that idea.
That's my prediction.
All right. I went to see my doctor the other day. He says it looks like you're going to live for another day. So you're doing good, kid.
And you're living the American dream. You live, eat, sleep, breathe, dream motorcycles. Your whole life revolves around motorcycles.
Yes.
We should do a story of your private museum at your house someday. Because actually we filmed the reality show, the pilot. We filmed the teaser pilot, the 5-minute reel.
Yeah.
The trailer for the reality show was shot in his personal museum at his house, and it is a museum. We will have to do that someday.
Right. You're
He's got
welcome
some really
anytime.
cool bikes there,
Love to have you up there.
including one of these.
Right on. Part of the charm of this bike is the left-hand kicker. I love the left-hand kicker and the right-hand shift. Shifts on the right, brake on the left, kicker on the left. It's backwards to a lot, and that, for me, that's part of the enhanced rider experience. You know, it's enhanced by these things that aren't normal. You know, shifting on the right, it takes some getting used to, but it's part of what I like personally about the Bultaco.
We talked about the mental conditioning required and the focus. When you're on this bike riding this, you're not thinking about anything but riding. You know, you're focused because you're especially when you're doing the stunts, like you're trying to stop and balance it.
Yeah.
That's 100% mental focus, and that's there's no better therapy. Some people try to copy that with drugs or alcohol or eating. That's a temporary fix with a negative outcome. This is something that sticks with you and it's positive.
Right, it's a very positive thing, and it's really hard to think about the balance in your checkbook when you're going up a big rock or up a slippery climb on a wet stone or some rolly rocks. You really got to think about what you're doing. You can't be thinking about trouble in your life.
Adrenaline, endorphins, just getting the blood flowing, good for your heart. There's nothing better than in my opinion.
That's right. Agreed 100%.
You
And
can't.
to be honest, you know, a lot of motorcycling, we know it's dangerous. It can be if it's not done properly, and if you're going really fast, you could get hurt. This bike here, you're going to be going 1 mile an hour. You can still get hurt, but
Yeah, you're not going to get killed riding
risk,
this.
yeah, it's not as high a risk.
For an older rider like me, that's a good thing. Maybe this is my next frontier. I don't know. So, anyways, Bill, give us one last demo on this bad boy.
Right on. Up with the kickstand.
Even has the kickstand, which is remarkable.
And it's on the wrong side.
Oh, the right side, according to Senor Bolto. Everybody else was wrong, right? Truly a museum quality time capsule. Investment quality classic. Whatever you pay for this bike, it's being auctioned off to raise funds for our museum. Whatever you pay for this bike, it's going to be worth more next year, guaranteed. It's an antique, it's a classic, it's a time-proven design, and it's pristine. Bill, how many
ride.
how many gears does it have?
It's got a 5-speed.
5-speed? What's the top speed?
Probably 55 miles an hour.
Let's find out. Let's do a drive-by. If you hung on this far with us, we need to do this. This is what I was talking about earlier, where with the 5-speed transmission, this thing's going to have not only the ability to crawl along, but also to go very fast. What do you think?
I actually never seen a trials bike go that fast.
Me neither. That's why. Designed to go slow, but it will go fast.
A scorching 45 miles an hour.
It's geared super low.
Super. What a bike.
Awesome piece. Lifetime of fun riding bikes can be yours. Just get on and ride, man. Sounds good.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, and God bless America.
Amen, brother. Should be in the museum here if you want to come take a look at it. Plenty of photos, pictures. Call us if you have any questions, 860-454-7024. We are absolutely looking to purchase motorcycles, so if you have any bikes that you want to sell, give us a call, 860-454-7024. We're looking for collections of motorcycles. Stay tuned. I'm going up to Maine, 650-mile round trip this weekend. Pick up 16 bikes. Got some killer collections coming your way. Thanks for watching. God bless America.